Builders set for their worst year in a decade. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because, well, we have to look at this media release from the HIA about some predictions for the building industry, guys. We'll bring this up here. So, house building set for worst year in a decade. Now, we're seeing with the, well, construction apocalypse, and I'll just bring up my little slide deck here to show you. Wait, oh, hang on, pressing the wrong button here. Well-polished operation here at HeiseSays. Bear with me, everyone. Now, I've got another video to record later today of another builder that's gone bust. At the moment, it almost is a daily occurrence. Very much a weekly occurrence. And that's just the ones that actually reach the media. Now, we have a lot of builders going under. It's a profitless boom. I'm calling it the construction apocalypse. Now, we have to remind ourselves why this happened. Okay, and I'm just going to bring this up here because the government came to the rescue, everyone. The first thing they did, which really worried me, was that they allowed zombie companies to stay alive. And we're seeing in recent administrations or liquidations of builders, the rot set in during COVID when they were allowed to trade while insolvent. So you get into a situation where, okay, you make a loss on this job, the next one will be good, the next one will be good, the next one will be good. And you go from being a profitable, healthy business to, well, just kicking the can down the road. But unlike the government, you know, private citizens, we don't have the same infinite money glitch that they have. But they allowed people to trade while insolvent. And that's laid the seeds. And you can see the external administrations were trending down in this chart here. And it's lifted right back up. So it's just gone back to normal. Hang on, I'll bring it here. I've got it on this chart here. Okay, so it's dropped down right back up. So, yeah. And then, as well, that's not the only thing, guys. And I know for the regulars you've heard this before, but we need to get this into the public dialogue. We need to tell people about all of the issues of this government intervention in the economy. So when they bitch and complain about such and such and then call for the government to come to the rescue, you can highlight, well, that may not necessarily be the best thing. Look at the Homebuilder. It overheated the housing market. Everyone thought they were getting free money. Yeah, they got taken for a ride. You ended up paying more for houses. Now we're seeing builders going under because it's added fuel to the fire. And they use housing to stimulate the economy. You got the cash rate went down to insane levels. I don't know how anyone thought it would go lower. I guess, I mean, the problem was the media was reporting about some vague suggestions by the RBA or APRA to prepare for potentially negative rates. But our very own Reserve Bank governor said they won't go negative. So the media reports on half the story. So people listen to that, they hear Koshi, they see, oh yeah, no rate rises until 2024. Yeah, just borrow more, honey. We need to get into housing. We'll sort it out later. So I can see it happening. I can see it happening. This is why you want to make your stupid financial mistakes when you're younger to learn some valuable lessons to become more conservative and sensible. You know, when you're under 30, it doesn't matter if you burn some money or make a mistake. You can rebuild. It's a lot harder the older you get, an old man like me. You've got Homebuilder, which I said juiced up the market. You've got first home buyer grants, guys. Now we have shared equity. You've got the 5 and 2% government loan guarantees. You've got negative gearing and super withdrawals. All of these things came together. And then we've got some systematic issues in housing. The not in my backyard crowd, the councils, just the issues from federal, state, all trying to work together. Yeah. I've got very little confidence in housing affordability being addressed here in Australia, guys. Any time soon. And, well, you know what? I might show you a few things I've added to my slide deck here, because the regulars will know this about the housing apocalypse. You've got juicing the market, which we saw. You've got market competition. Most Australians live in these 3 cities. You've got building code changes, potentially 30 grand more an increase. I know, you know, they sound good. It's all awesome. More sustainable buildings, less energy use. Well, if you never put air conditioning in a building, you're just going to spend more money on it, aren't you? I'd argue we need to look at passive design. more than anything. But this is the lowest common denominator, so they just drive up the costs. You've got APRA interventions. Okay, APRA are going to intervene. They, you know, hang on, this is the quote from APRA. The chair of APRA has revealed he is open to changing bank rules on home loans. They'll change the buffer. It's essentially interest rate change. More, you'll be able to borrow more. Serviceability requirements will change. You've got family support. Now, you can see at the top, that was the poll after 1 hour. This is the poll again after 22 hours. I captured it this morning, and we have 1,200 results. The numbers haven't changed. 30% of you, viewers of the channel, 30% would give money to a family member struggling with their mortgage. Yes as a gift, and 36% yes as a loan. 34% would say no. And actually, let's just have a look at this. This is a bit old data, but it hasn't changed that much. This is the channel stats, okay? So the majority of you are Australian viewers. This is an Australian channel. I cover Aussie content. I don't really chase the US market. If I wanted to grow to be a big YouTuber, you'd have to really go down the US path. And they're just a bit nuts over there, guys. You know, it's just a little bit too nuts for me. You've got most of your blokes, and we can see the ages from 25, pretty much. A few of you at 24, all the way up to 65. So no surprises there. So the majority of viewers of the channel are actually millennials with some Gen X and boomers. But most of you are millennials viewing the channel. You're probably like me, geriatric millennials, guys. I mean, we'll have a look here. This is the generation breakdown. You can see here, Zoomers Gen Z, and then millennials Gen X, 81 to 96. So we're getting old. But keep that in mind. So the millennials, or the boomers, are willing to step in to help family with regards to housing. That's another thing to add to it. We also have to look at the FOMO impact, which I'm calling. You know, the number of 2021, we had 600,000 dwellings sell. That was the highest it's been since 2004. So 42% increase. But that's still only a fraction of the 10.5 million dwellings in the country. And then if we say, okay, the 2%ers, the 2% that got the $10,000, sorry, the 10,000 people that got the 2% government loan, and we're starting to see sob stories about them, if they all start falling over and forced to sell, that's still not a significant number compared to the huge number of sales we had and the total number of dwellings. So we've got to weigh it up, guys. The media is going to focus on the negative because that's what they do, because that gets the clicks. Okay, I'll click on the negative article. We're hardwired like that to protect ourselves, but we just need to keep this type of stuff in mind. Okay? So, and then there's one more, actually. Another poll I did, which I haven't brought live yet. Let me bring this up here on the community tab. Bear with me, guys. There we go. And we can see here, if you're struggling to pay your mortgage, would you ask your family for help? Okay, and, well, 34% said yes. 66% of you said no, so you wouldn't ask for help. And I can understand, honestly. You wouldn't go out of your way and ask for help. Majority of people watching here are blokes. You don't want to lose face. So how do we interpret this on top of the other data? We'll have to see. I mean, it's only based on the viewers of the channel, and you know the stats. Let's have a look. Aussie Manly Man, I still have another 14 months at 3.2% fixed. So another 14 months of easy payments. I expect it to be double the rate when the fixed time expires, but even then, I borrowed well within my means. I paid extra off the loan every week, so even if my means to earn money stops, I have plenty of good buffer on the loans. My healthy rainy day fund to last me many months. So Aussie Manly Man, he's got his shit sorted. Now, is that just the demo of the channel here? Guys, that's the question. Because there'll be a lot of you as tradies or in the building game. So a lot of you would have your shit sorted. Okay, sure, you may piss a bit of extra money on the food cart when the pretty girl comes by, but, you know, you sort it out. Fraser's going... In our family, we help each other out. My elderly mum lets me live in a property whilst I help her with numerous things. I mean, that's normal, isn't it? You're meant to take care of family. Michael said, I said, no, I would go through my finances or get a second job. I believe you shouldn't be maxing out your debts unless you have a realistic plan B. Yeah, but this is the issue. What if you get really desperate to the point where you've done all of that and it's still not working? No, you can get a mortgage to live in your home, not struggle or survive in your home. Yep, sell the nonsense people are starting to sell. I'd rather turn to crime than ask my family for money. That's kind of stupid, honestly. I mean, if one of your family members did that, how pissed off would you be at them? How angry would you be at them? Oh, boy. Yeah, you wouldn't be happy. Here we go. Legally free. I paid them back in full plus 5% interest in about 5 years. I was fortunate they had the cash at the time, as I had a casual job and was unable to secure a bank loan. So there you go. So Herbert's going, my mum and dad are on a pension. I bought the acreage property, which they're now renting off me, but I asked him, because he's mentioned this on the previous survey. I said, what about your sister? Because she's the one that's doing better than him. What has he said? Maybe I'd like to sort out my own problems and not let it get there in the first place. Don't forget, I grew up under a German housewife. Everything is accounted for and planned. I do similar. Okay, so he's not sure. His wife would be bloody pissed. That's probably what he's saying there. But you know what I mean. I guess no one would want to do it. And Doodle says, I'd ask my government to stop importing migrants so I could downsize. It's not going to happen, mate. It's not. I mean, I'll bring up. Here we got a. It's not going to happen if we have a look just here at this one. One of the reasons that there's market support is the return of migration. Oh, wait, nope, sorry. This one here. They're opening the gates. So, with that all in mind, let's have a look. And I went off on a bit of a tangent, but I tend to do that. Let's have a look at this media release from the HIA. And honestly, I'm a fan of the HIA. As an architect, maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but still. The number of detached houses commencing construction is set to decline this year and next to its lowest level since 2012, State HIA Chief Economist Tim Reardon said. So, what I've discussed in the past, all this surge in building approvals and extensions and projects from Homebuilder is bringing future projects forward. So, when it shoots up, we're getting a dip. So we had this beautiful, yay, it's all going good, buy the jet ski, boom, down. Okay, so this work here has been transferred back to here. Okay, so no intervention in the economy is without consequences. That comes to everything. All the crazy energy stuff, all the Labour wanting to control our super. I haven't even looked into that very closely. I'm a bit scared to. It's going to get me angry. Anyway. The HIA released its Economic and Industry Outlook Report today. The Outlook Report, I think that was yesterday, includes updated forecasts for new home building and renovation activity nationally and for each of the 8 states and territories. The 2022 cash rate increases were sufficient to bring this building boom to an end, and further increases in 23 will accelerate this downturn, added Mr. Reardon. And you've got to remember, this boom, it was a profitless boom. It was a profitless boom. Now, for employees, it may be hard to understand. You could be really, really busy, flat out, and everything. You get to a point where you're so busy, you're not making any money. I remember when I was an architecture student, I was working in a firm that had gone from like 12 people up to, I think, 60 or 70 people. It had grown, and I'd just arrived as it had grown. And I was driving for a measure up with the boss, and he was explaining to me how he didn't make any money going from 10 to like 30, 40 people. No additional profit. There's just all these additional costs to get bigger and bigger and bigger and build something. There was a large volume of work in the pipeline when rates started to rise in May 22, and there remains a record number of homes under construction. But this will shrink quickly as market confidence continues to fade. And, well, the constructions have all been delayed. People are struggling to get stuff finished, not just me with my own builder job. Lending for the purchase or construction of a new home had already fallen to its lowest level since 2012 by the end of 2022, and the full impact of last year's rate increases is still to flow through to households. This will see the number of detached housing starts fall below 100,000 starts per year for the first time in a decade to just 96,300 in 2024. This is a very rapid slowdown from 149,000 starts in 2021. So, boy. We're going from 150 pretty much to 96,000. Guys. There you go. There you go. Multi-unit starts were impaired last year by the acute shortage of labour and materials, which has seen many projects postponed until 23. Unlike detached home construction, the number of multi-unit commencing construction should increase as the acute shortage of housing, returning migrants and students, and affordability constraints continue to drive demand for housing. It's unfortunate that the RBA appears set to repeat the cycle the building industry experienced after the GFC. Following an initial cut to rates, the RBA then increased rates quickly, bringing the building industry to a stall before being forced to cut rates again to avoid adverse impacts to the wider economy. I remember that. I remember talking to like an older, more experienced engineer, and I was, we all of a sudden had all this work, and it started to get quiet, and I was getting worried. He said, "Don't worry, Florian. It'll be fine. It always goes up and down, up and down, up and down. You'll be fine." And he was right. He was right. It's also unfortunate that higher rates will further impair the ability of the market to respond to the acute shortage of housing stock. One policy tool at the disposal of government is to ease the barriers put in place in recent years that restrict first home buyers' access to a mortgage. Over a decade of macroprudential restrictions have seen borrowing for those with less than a 20% deposit become increasingly expensive. This inevitably leads to banks increasingly lending to those that already own a home. It's the Australian way, guys, isn't it? All of these safety features, they want to, they're ensuring the stability of the system, keep the banks safe. It doesn't come without consequence. The problem is this will exacerbate the inequality in our society, and it's demonstrated quite clearly by those who own a house and those who don't. That's the difference here in society, here in Australia. And another thing I want to bring up is, this is wage price predictions, but this is the differences in household income. Okay, you go from real mean weekly, IDIHA, what's that say again? Equalized disposable household income by income group. You go at the top, they're over $2,000. The middle income, they're just a tad under $1,000, and the bottom, what are they? Like $400? Look at the difference there in Australia. This is why you're going to have some people shitting the bricks, thinking, how can anyone afford a mortgage? It's all going to fall down. We're going to get a big housing collapse. Everyone's as poor as me. And there are people there sitting there on bloody good money who probably just need to tighten their belt a little bit and not bitch and moan that they can't afford to live off $180,000, and they'll be fine. The class divide in Australia, it's growing. It's not shrinking. The age of when housing was the great equalizer, and everyone could lift themselves up in social status by coming over to Australia, I get the feeling it's gone. You tell me. Anyway, easing the barriers to home ownership need not undermine the efforts of the RBA or the government to reduce inflationary pressures, concluded Mr. Reardon. And you can get this report from the HIA today. So free plug for them there. But, there you go, guys. This is detached houses, actual start, multi-units, actual start, and these are the predictions. Okay, so look, this is exactly what I've been talking about here. So we got this huge spike, and then it's just gone right back down. And the question is, are we going to be below trend? Okay, is it going to go down even further, or this is what they're predicting? So even just the delta change from there to there is going to be felt by a lot of people. But remember, builders are going under. We're losing that capacity. And then even the ones that aren't going under, let's have a talk about this. So there we have it from the HIA guys. And what I wanted to say is, builders are going under. We're seeing this in the construction apocalypse. But even those that haven't gone under, they've just gone through a profitless boom. And what happens when you go through a profitless boom and, you have a whole lot of stress in your business and maybe you got lockdowns and you got to spend a bit more time with your family and you realize, I barely get to see my kids. I'm running this business, which is killing me. You know, I'm putting on weight. I'm eating like shit. I'm not making any money. What the hell am I doing it for? We're going to lose people from the building game. I bet you. Bet you carton. I bet you a low-carb carton of wanky beer bullshit. You know what I mean. People are going to go to hell with this and step out. We're going to lose some expertise there, and that's going to also impact the ability for us to meet the increasing demand for housing, to provide the supply that we need. I should ring up the HIA and see if they've got any numbers on membership or builders participating, because I really suspect you'll see some go, nah, she'll be right, mate. I've had enough. Stuff it. I'll go play golf or retire. Or they'll embrace the FIRE movement. Anyway, guys, there we go. Worst year predicted in a decade. I mean, if you're in the game, shit, don't swear like I do all the time. I mean, can you go from spec houses or detached houses to apartments? Yeah. Depends on your building license. Some of them can't. It's going to be tough, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you want to support us, check out my other channels, HeiseBim and Heise Does. I will update Heise Does. I should. I've just been flat out, everyone. You can support the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can use our referral links, buy our pocket squares or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now. Oh, it's good coffee. There you go. Oh, let's go on to this builder collapse next. Shit.